Hello Zenith women, and welcome to the channel. Freedom is the oxygen of the soul. Moshe Dayan. But here's the harsh truth. Most relationships? They're like airtight boxes, cutting off that oxygen one compromise at a time. Did you know that studies show single women on average report higher levels of happiness and lower stress compared to their married counterparts? Now imagine a Sigma female, independent, introspective, and fiercely self-reliant, trapped in a traditional relationship dynamic. Sounds like trying to cage a storm, doesn't it? You see, Sigma females don't avoid relationships because they're afraid of love or commitment. No, they avoid relationships because they see what others don't, the emotional traps, the societal games, and the quiet erosion of individuality. For a Sigma, a bad relationship isn't just inconvenient, it's a threat to their very identity. So, buckle up, because today we're diving into the unapologetic, no-holds-barred truth behind why Sigma females sidestep relationships like a pothole on a perfect road trip. And trust me, it's not for the reasons you think. Let's unravel it all. Number 1. Relationships feel like a trap for their freedom. Sigma females avoid relationships because they value their freedom more than anything else. For them, being in a relationship often feels like stepping into a cage, no matter how beautifully it's decorated. The unspoken expectations that come with most relationships, constant updates, shared schedules, emotional availability on demand, can feel like a slow erosion of their independence. They don't see love as something that should restrict them. But unfortunately, that's exactly what many relationships end up doing. It's not that they're afraid of commitment or incapable of love, it's that they're fiercely protective of their autonomy. Every decision they make, every action they take, is rooted in their need to be self-directed. They've worked hard to build a life on their own terms, and the thought of handing over even a small piece of that control feels unbearable. Relationships, for them, often come with too many strings attached. Strings that can easily turn into chains. Sigma females aren't willing to trade their freedom for a sense of security or companionship. They've seen how quickly checking in can turn into checking up, and how expectations can snowball into obligations. They don't want to justify why they're taking time for themselves or explain why they're pursuing their own goals. To a Sigma, love should enhance your freedom, not limit it. And the moment they sense that their freedom might be compromised, they'll walk away without a second thought. Their freedom isn't just about being able to do what they want. It's about being able to be who they are. Relationships often come with subtle pressures to adjust, conform, or compromise, and Sigma females simply aren't willing to make themselves smaller for someone else's comfort. Their freedom isn't negotiable, and that's why they avoid relationships. Number 2. They see through the illusion of romantic ideals. Sigma females avoid relationships because they've seen through the illusions society has built around romance. From childhood, people are fed this idealistic version of love, soulmates, grand gestures, and happily ever afters. But Sigma females know better. They understand that most of these notions are just marketing tactics, designed to sell rom-coms, dating apps, and expensive weddings. They see relationships for what they often are, messy, imperfect, and full of unrealistic expectations. They've noticed how love is often romanticized as the ultimate life goal, but the reality rarely matches the dream. Many relationships revolve around needs, validation, financial stability, or simply filling a void. For Sigmas, this kind of dependency feels less like love and more like an unspoken transaction. They crave authenticity, but they've seen how often people wear masks in relationships, trying to be what their partner wants instead of who they truly are. That's a game they refuse to play. Sigma females also reject the idea that a relationship will complete them. They know that fulfillment doesn't come from someone else, but from within. They've watched people chase love like it's a fix-all solution, only to end up disappointed or trapped in situations that drain them. Sigmas aren't willing to risk their peace of mind for something built on shaky foundations. For a Sigma, love isn't about grand gestures or sweeping declarations. It's about deep, unspoken understanding, and they know that's a rare find. Until they see something genuine, they're perfectly fine walking alone. They don't need the illusion of romance to feel whole, and they won't settle for anything that doesn't align with their truth. That's why they avoid relationships, because they refuse to be sold a dream when they've already mastered reality. Number 3. They refuse to be someone's emotional crutch. Sigma. Females avoid relationships because they refuse to become someone else's emotional crutch. They've seen how many relationships play out. One partner ends up carrying the emotional weight for both people, while the other offloads their issues without a second thought. To a Sigma, this dynamic isn't love. It's imbalance, and they won't tolerate it. While they are naturally empathetic and understanding, Sigma females are also fiercely protective of their emotional energy. They've worked hard to build their inner stability, and they won't let someone else disrupt that. They know what it's like to support others through their problems, only to realize that it's a one-sided effort. Emotional dumping is not the same as emotional connection, and Sigma females can spot the difference a mile away. They also understand that some people enter relationships looking for someone to fix them. Sigmas aren't interested in playing therapist or life coach to a partner who hasn't done the work on themselves. They believe that everyone is responsible for their own healing and growth, and they aren't willing to sacrifice their own peace to compensate for someone else's lack of self-awareness. This doesn't mean Sigma females are cold or unfeeling. They simply have boundaries that they refuse to compromise. They want relationships that are emotionally balanced, where both people are equally capable of giving and receiving. They won't sign up for a partnership where they're expected to constantly prop up someone who isn't willing to stand on their own. For a Sigma, love should be a meeting of equals, not a rescue mission. If a potential partner isn't emotionally self-sufficient, they'd rather walk away than get caught in a cycle of endless emotional labor. Their peace isn't negotiable, and that's why they avoid relationships that demand too much of it. Number 4. The energy cost outweighs the benefits. Sigma females avoid relationships because they see them as an energy drain rather than a source of fulfillment. They're very careful about where they invest their time and effort, and relationships, especially the wrong ones, tend to take more than they give. For a Sigma, every connection is a transaction of energy, and if the cost outweighs the return, they'll pull the plug without hesitation. They've learned that relationships often require constant maintenance, soothing egos, resolving petty arguments, explaining their needs over and over. And for what? A lot of people are in relationships just to avoid being alone, not because they're truly ready to build something meaningful. Sigma females have no interest in that. They're not willing to spend hours dealing with unnecessary drama or trying to fix problems that shouldn't exist in the first place. To a Sigma, energy is a precious resource. They'd rather use it to focus on their goals, deepen their passions, or nurture their inner peace. They've seen too many people lose themselves in relationships, pouring everything they have into someone else while neglecting their own growth. That's not a life a Sigma is willing to live. They'd much rather be alone and thriving than attached and drained. It's not that they don't believe in love, they do, but they don't believe in sacrificing their energy for a relationship that doesn't elevate them. They crave balance, respect, and a deep connection, and they know that's rare to find. Until they meet someone who truly matches their energy and values, they're more than happy to walk away. For Sigmas, protecting their energy isn't selfish. It's survival, and they'd never trade it for a relationship that leaves them feeling empty. Number 5. They don't need validation through a partner. Sigma females avoid relationships because they don't need validation through a partner. Society has long pushed the narrative that a woman's value is tied to her ability to be in a relationship or to secure a partner. For many, love and companionship are seen as the ultimate goals, the proof that they've made it in life. But Sigma females see straight through this outdated mindset. They know their worth isn't determined by their relationship status, and they refuse to let anyone convince them otherwise. Their validation comes from within. They take pride in their achievements, their personal growth, and the life they've built on their own terms. For a Sigma, every success, no matter how small, is a reminder of their strength and independence. They don't need a partner to validate their existence or to prove that they're desirable. Being single isn't a reflection of a lack. It's a conscious choice to focus on what truly matters to them. To them, the idea of being someone's better half is absurd. They're already whole, complete, and thriving on their own. They don't need a partner to feel complete or to navigate life's challenges. If they do choose to be in a relationship, it's because they want to, not because they need to. This mindset can be intimidating to others. People who rely on relationships for their sense of worth often struggle to understand someone who doesn't. But Sigma females don't apologize for it. They've embraced the fact that their value isn't tied to external validation. They are their own source of confidence, and they refuse to let societal expectations dictate their path. That's why they avoid relationships that demand they conform to outdated roles. They simply don't need them. Number 6. They don't see love as a necessity for a full life. Sigma females avoid relationships because they don't see love as a necessity for a full life. Society often paints a picture where love is the ultimate goal, the missing piece that completes the puzzle of happiness. But for Sigma females, this narrative simply doesn't apply. They view love and relationships as optional, something that can enhance their lives but is by no means essential. They've built their lives on a foundation of self-reliance, purpose, and personal fulfillment. Their happiness comes from chasing their passions, achieving their goals, and experiencing the world on their own terms. A relationship might add to that, but it's not the centerpiece of their existence. They're not waiting for someone to walk in and save them from loneliness because they've mastered the art of being content on their own. To Sigmas, the idea that life is incomplete without romantic love is a myth. They've seen people lose themselves in the pursuit of relationships, sacrificing their dreams, independence, and even their identity for the sake of fitting into a societal mold. That's not a sacrifice they're willing to make. Their version of a full life includes freedom, exploration, and self-expression, not a desperate search for a partner to complete them. This doesn't mean they're cynical about love. They appreciate it for what it is. But they're realistic enough to know that love isn't the answer to everything. They're not afraid to live boldly, take risks, and create a fulfilling life without relying on the presence of a partner. For them, relationships are a choice, not a necessity, and they won't let societal pressure dictate otherwise. That's why Sigma females embrace their independence. They know a full life isn't defined by who you're with, but by how true you are to yourself. Number 7, they're unwilling to train someone to meet their standards. Sigma females avoid relationships because they have no interest in training someone to meet their standards. For them, the idea of shaping someone into a suitable partner is exhausting and unnecessary. They believe that if a person isn't already self-aware, emotionally intelligent, and mature, they're simply not a match. And that's the end of the story. They've seen too many people enter relationships with the hope of changing or improving their partner, only to be met with frustration and disappointment. Sigma females have no patience for this dynamic. They're not looking to mold someone into their ideal. They want a partner who already aligns with their values and mindset. If that's not the case, they're perfectly fine walking away rather than investing time and energy into a project disguised as a relationship. This stance isn't about being unkind or overly critical. It's about respecting themselves and their time. They've worked hard to become the people they are, and they expect the same level of effort and growth from anyone who enters their lives. They won't compromise on this. A relationship to them should be a meeting of equals, not a mentor-student arrangement. Sigmas also know that trying to fix someone rarely works. True growth and maturity come from within, not from external pressure or guidance. They aren't willing to babysit a partner through emotional or personal development. If someone hasn't done the work to be ready for a relationship, that's not their responsibility to change. For a Sigma female, a relationship should feel natural and effortless, not like a chore. They're not looking to raise a partner, they're looking to meet one. That's why they avoid relationships where they sense they'll be expected to fill the role of teacher or guide. Number 8, the fear of losing their individuality. Sigma females avoid relationships because they fear losing their individuality. They've worked hard to carve out their identity, and the idea of dissolving into a we instead of staying firmly rooted as me is something they can't tolerate. For Sigmas, individuality isn't just a personality trait, it's their core essence. A relationship that threatens to blur that boundary feels less like love and more like self-sacrifice. Many relationships unintentionally chip away at personal identity. Shared routines, compromises, and expectations can slowly erode the uniqueness that defines a person. To a Sigma female, this feels like suffocation. She refuses to become an extension of someone else or to conform to the traditional dynamics where individuality often takes a back seat. Her uniqueness is non-negotiable, and any relationship that asks her to tone it down or share every aspect of her life feels like a threat to her sense of self. Sigmas thrive on their independence and freedom. They enjoy their own company, value their solitude, and take pride in making decisions without outside influence. The thought of being tied to someone else's agenda or constantly having to consider another person's opinions can feel stifling. It's not that they're unwilling to compromise, they just won't do so at the expense of their identity. This fear of losing themselves isn't irrational, it's rooted in self-awareness. They know how easy it is for people to slip into codependency, where one person's needs, dreams, or identity become secondary to the relationship. Sigma females will never allow that to happen. They'd rather remain single and fully themselves than risk becoming a diluted version of who they are for the sake of love. To them, individuality is their greatest strength, and they'll fiercely protect it at all costs. Number 9. They prioritize goals over romance. Sigma. Females avoid relationships because they prioritize their goals over romance. They're not interested in getting caught up in the whirlwind of emotions, constant texts, and relationship drama when they have bigger things to focus on. For them, ambition isn't just a side project, it's the driving force of their lives. Whether it's advancing in their career, pursuing personal growth, or mastering a new skill, Sigma females put their time and energy into things that align with their vision for the future. Romance, that comes second. They understand that love can be fulfilling and meaningful, but it's not the end-all be-all. If a relationship threatens to pull them away from their ambitions or distract them from their next big goal, it's simply not worth the time or energy. Sigmas are all about growth and progress, and they won't let anything derail their plans, especially not something that can be so unpredictable and draining. The last thing a Sigma female wants is a relationship that adds unnecessary drama or complicates her life. She's not interested in dealing with constant emotional highs and lows, misunderstandings, or conflicts that prevent her from moving forward. Relationships, in their ideal form, should complement her life, not consume it. If a partner can't understand that, or if the relationship starts to feel like an obstacle, she won't hesitate to step back. For Sigma females, life is about evolving and achieving. Romance might be nice, but it's not the primary source of happiness or fulfillment. They know that true success comes from within, and that investing in their future is the best way to create the life they want. A relationship that supports that journey? Great. Anything else? They'll pass. Number 10. They can't be manipulated by societal timelines. Sigma females avoid relationships because they can't be manipulated by societal timelines. The world often throws these expectations at women: marriage by 30, kids by 35, the whole settle-down package. But for Sigma females, these arbitrary deadlines hold no weight. They've built their lives on their own terms, and no one, not society nor family pressures, is going to dictate their pace. For many people, these timelines are seen as markers of success or the right way to live. But Sigma females see through this manufactured roadmap of life. They know that there's no one-size-fits-all formula for happiness or fulfillment, and that true contentment comes from within, not from meeting deadlines laid out by others. While others might scramble to check boxes on a prescribed life timeline, Sigmas are content charting their own path, whether that includes a partner, marriage, or children, or none of the above. The pressure to conform is often overwhelming, but Sigma females have learned to tune it out. They've seen too many people rush into relationships or make life-altering decisions just to meet societal expectations, only to end up feeling unfulfilled or trapped. They've also seen the joy and freedom that comes from living without the weight of these imposed timelines. Sigmas are free from the need to settle down or start a family, because they recognize that their value and happiness aren't tied to these milestones. Rather than following the herd, Sigma females focus on what feels right for them, whether that means embracing independence, traveling the world, or pursuing passions that others might deem unconventional. They won't let anyone's expectations pressure them into living a life that doesn't align with who they are. For them, life is about quality, not conformity, and they'll refuse to let anyone rush them into a mold they don't fit into. In conclusion, Sigma females approach relationships with a level of clarity and self-awareness that most simply can't comprehend. They don't need validation from a partner, and they refuse to compromise their individuality for the sake of love. They are too focused on their personal growth, goals, and purpose to let romance distract them. Societal timelines and expectations, irrelevant. Their lives are theirs to shape, not to be dictated by conventional standards. While many view relationships as a necessity for fulfillment, Sigma females see them as just one possible aspect of an already rich, full life. They're not afraid of walking alone because they know that their independence is their greatest strength. They prioritize self-discovery over self-sacrifice and have no interest in training someone to meet their standards. In a world that constantly pushes for conformity, Sigma females stand out as trailblazers who refuse to be bound by tradition. Their power lies in their unapologetic authenticity and their unwavering commitment to staying true to who they are. For them, the harsh truth is simple. Love is a choice, not a necessity. And when they do choose to share their lives with someone, it will be with someone who matches their level of self-awareness and ambition, not because they need someone to complete them, but because they are already complete. If you found this content eye-opening and want more insights into the world of Sigma females and other intriguing topics, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Join the community and never miss out on the exceptional content we have coming your way. Stay tuned, stay unique, and always stay true to yourself. Thanks for watching and bye.